First responders getting the message out to drivers to make sure they're slowing down and moving over. Hear from some of those that have been hit.
Police have not released the name of the victim.
Slow down and move over. A message of life or death, according to first responders who came together today to get the word out to drivers.
News specialist Dan Rascone covering this story for us tonight joins us live right now. Dan, it's also the law, isn't it?
That's exactly right, Mike. It is a law right here in Utah. If you're driving down the roadway there, you see those flashing lights, you're supposed to slow down and move over and switch lanes if it's safe to do so. Now, this was a scene today at the parking lot there of the UHP Taylorsville office near 4700 South and 2700 West. A variety of first responder vehicles, all with flashing emergency lights on, and standing next to them are those men and women who drive those vehicles. All of them really trying to get that message across to drivers just how critical it is to move over. This all part of Crash Responder Safety Week. It was exactly 8 years ago today that UHP Trooper Eric Ellsworth was struck and later died. Nationwide, UHP reports 45 first responders were killed this year out on the roadway.
They have families at home too, their fathers, their mothers, their brothers and sisters. There's a whole bunch of people at home that know they're out there, that are worried about them, that want them to come home safe. Do everything you can to make sure we're making sure that happens.
Dale Talbot drives one of those incident management trucks you see up and down the freeways. His vehicle has been hit twice by vehicles out of control while he's parked along the freeway helping someone. He calls those terrifying experiences. Coming up at 6 o'clock, we'll hear more from him about his experience. Also, we'll be talking to a UHP trooper that was also hit. That's at 6 o'clock. I'm Dan Rascone, live at 5.
Dan, thank you. Utah Highway Patrol says the road to zero fatalities starts with us. You hold the key to driving safe in our state. Troopers want to remind drivers to drive attentive, buckled, and calm whenever they're on the road. Those simple steps could help save a life and prevent disaster.
A critical hearing taking place around means for our smaller ski resorts. Plus, the close calls one incident management truck driver has had while working on Utah roads, and the law he wants us all to adhere to. At 6.
Next.
Slow down and move over. That's the message from first responders who say those close calls are happening too frequently. I'm Dan Rascone, a live report coming up.
Issues ahead of time. A call for drivers to slow down and move on over when they are flashing lights out there. It is coming from responders who say they're having too many close calls out there. News specialist Dan Rascone has reaction now and joins us live. And Dan, you spoke with some who have actually been hit, right?
Yeah, that's correct, Mike, and they say it was a terrifying experience. Not only is this about keeping first responders safe, but it's also Utah law. If you see those flashing lights, you're supposed to slow down and move over if you can.
This is it. We cruise up and down the freeway, and we're looking for motorists that are stranded.
Dale Talbot is all about helping people.
And look for people who are pulled over and that need some help.
But his job on UDOT's incident management team is also very dangerous.
How's it going?
Every time he pulls over to help someone, cars are racing by at 70, 80 miles an hour.
Makes us a target out here.
And just a few weeks ago, he got the scare of his life when this Dodge SUV spun out of control and came right at him and a trooper.
He and I heard tires screeching, and we looked back, and there was a vehicle that was spinning out of control and heading right for us. And it was terrifying.
Luckily, it hit his truck and not him or the trooper.
About once every 9 minutes in the state of Utah, there's a crash on a roadway somewhere.
That's why Dale and other first responders are lining up their vehicles, turning on the emergency lights, and sending out a message to drivers.
Please slow down and move over. We can't emphasize that enough.
These videos of terrifying accidents on Utah's roads show just how scary it is for these first responders.
Luckily, it came out with very minor aches and pains.
Trooper Hunter Worth is one of those that was hit from behind.
Looked up in my rearview mirror and saw a big Dodge Ram right behind me and felt the impact.
Luckily, he too made it out alive.
The easiest thing to do is to obey the slow down and move over law, especially in inclement weather.
Well, today's event was all part of kicking off Crash Responder Safety Week, and sadly, it was exactly 8 years ago that Trooper Eric Ellsworth was hit by a vehicle, and he ended up dying just days later. Mike, back to you.
Put their lives on the line every time they stop on the side of the highway there to pull someone over. So, yeah, do them a little favor there. Dan, great reminder. Thank you.
The Larry H. Miller Company and the Miller family.